The US dollar has changed forever, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. Super important changes we need to talk about. But first, thank you for being here. I'm Austin. If you're new here, I'm a co-owner of cloudmusicsuite.com, and I'm a stock market investor, okay? Hit that subscribe button. We're over 119 subscribers. Whoever's gonna be the 120th, I thank you so much. I appreciate every single person who has taken their time to subscribe so far. As a thank you for hitting that subscribe, here's a picture of my kitty cat and then a picture of my other kitty cat, because since I made my last video, I know I got another cat. Her name's Luna, so that's the brown one, and then the gray one is Millie. They're absolutely beautiful. They fight a lot, actually. I don't know if it's playing or not. I can't really tell. Sometimes it goes too far. Anyway, not the point of the video. US dollar has changed forever, okay? I want to talk about how you can protect yourself now and what exact changes have kind of gone on over the last few years, months, and even weeks. Some of this is very, very new stuff. First thing is that there is now a central bank digital currency that's being rolled out between now and July of 2023. So just like Bitcoin and just like USDC and just like Ethereum, there is now going to be a government digital currency. So it's called CBDC, central bank digital currency. So if you see that anywhere, you know what they're talking about. It's basically going to be the US dollar, except it's going to be only a digital version. So it's not necessarily backed by paper anymore. I would say paper money is on its way out, like super for real on its way out. Coins are on their way out, paper money's on its way out. It's just gonna be digital numbers on a screen, which is pretty much what it is now, but they never really, said those words out loud. Now they're saying those words and they're acknowledging that it's all fake. It's all just in trust of the US government, which a lot of people don't have that much trust of the US government. That shifts as leadership shifts in the US, I understand that, but regardless, right now there's not a ton of confidence in the US government, which is super scary when all we have now is faith. We went off the gold standard years and years and years ago, decades ago, and now we're going away from paper money and going away from coins even, which is kind of wild. So that's change number one. It's called the Fed Now program. If you hear about that, most of it's just headlines right now, but it is going to start to be rolled out so that you have only access to your money through the Fed Now program. I think that's where they're going to try to move this to. I don't know, I can't see the future, but it seems a little bit scary to me that we have no paper money soon, no coins soon, and we're not backed by any precious metals like gold. Okay, next thing that is worrisome that's been happening for decades is QE. If you hear about QE1, QE2, QE3, this is quantitative easing. This is basically inflating the money supply. So back in the day, it used to be literal printing of money. So you might hear that term now, oh, they're printing money. No, they're not really printing money. They're just inflating the money supply in the United States, which is just numbers on a screen. So if you inflate the money supply, that is inherently inflation. It takes a little while for that inflation to hit, but let's use COVID as an example, okay? During COVID was the last time they really went into this QE, quantitative easing. We had the worst inflation since the 70s or since the 80s, that just clocked in last year. It was like near 10% from the CPI numbers, which I would say it's way higher than that in reality because those CPI numbers are historically skewed. But anyway, we're inflating the money supply on a regular basis. This always is going to lead to inflation every single time. You have two options: default on your debt or inflate the money supply, okay? What are they going to do? Are they really going to default on their debt as a country? No. Who's going to choose that? They're always going to choose to inflate the money supply, which is just a slower death, kicking the can down the road and not actually addressing the real problem, which is that the US has so much insane amount of debt that we can't service. Okay, next thing up. So I don't want to get stuck on the QE. Next is that there's been a China to Brazil bypassing of the US dollar. So the US dollar is a world reserve currency. In general, most trade deals that are done go into the US dollar and then out of the US dollar into the new currency. So maybe from the Chinese currency to American currency to Brazil currency. That's what it used to be. Now we've got a direct link from China to Brazil bypassing the US dollar, which is about $150 billion a year that's not passing through the reserve currency that is the US dollar. Is it on the way out? Probably. Is it going to take a long time? Probably. Maybe like another 100 years, like we might not see it in our lifetime, but it is happening in front of our eyes, right? And then last year, this happened with Russia, with the whole Russia-Ukraine situation, and us saying, oh, we're not going to do trade with Russia anymore. They were like, okay, fine, whatever. So People are starting to bypass the US dollar, and it's going to lose its status over time, probably. Could be a very, very, very long time, but regardless, losing its position as world reserve currency. Kind of scary. So those three problems together can create a lot of fear, all right? Make a lot of great headlines for people to click. They make articles, CNBC makes these articles, all these other financial news outlets make these articles to kind of scare you, and I don't know what their goal is, but it definitely hurts investor sentiment, it definitely hurts consumer sentiment when we hear these things in the United States. These things have been happening for years. You can go back and look at these headlines that are very, very, very similar to this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, even just last year we could see some of these. We're always going to hear stuff like this. As the famous absolute beast fund manager and stock picker, Peter Lynch, who I have his book somewhere around here, I don't know where it went, but anyway, one of his books, One Up on Wall Street, one of the best books of all time. I would suggest you read it if you're a stock market investor and a stock picker. Anyway, he says if you spend 12 minutes a year on macroeconomics, you've wasted 10 minutes of your time, right? Pretty funny saying that he has, but basically what it's saying is if you just spend 2 minutes a year on this macroeconomic stuff, you'll probably figure out everything you need to know as it relates to macroeconomics in terms of its use case. There's a lot that you could go ahead and learn, but in terms of use case for you as an individual, 2 minutes a year is really all you need. So you got your 2 minutes a year. I gave you like 6 minutes. So the last 4 minutes maybe were a waste of your time. I don't know in terms of use, but I do want to give you some things that are very, very important. Most of this stuff is just clickbait, and it's not actually going to affect you as the consumer or the investor all that much in the long term. What is going to affect you in the long term is focusing on yourself and making sure that you always stick to the most important rule for investing always, which is you got to have more income than expenses so that you can go out there and you can buy assets. Whatever assets you want to buy, that's up to you. That's for you to decide. I like US equities. I also like some emerging markets equities, like stocks from Brazil. I also like gold and silver a little bit. So next thing, if you do get scared and you do get worried and you want a hedge against a potential currency crisis in America, I think it would be a very good idea to own some metals. Own some gold, own some silver. If you want to go into other metals as well, like rhodium and platinum and palladium, that's on you. I would just say silver and gold are seen as the currency metals typically. So they're going to really, really hold their value really well. And the only reason they go up over time, or one of the main reasons they go up over time, is because the dollars or the currency that we're trading for the gold is being devalued. So in order to balance it out, the metals have to go up in value. So ideally, if inflation goes up by 10%, the price of gold has also gone up by 10%. If the money supply increases by 10% over time, gold is going to go up by 10%, roughly, okay? So gold, from an investment standpoint, terrible. From a protection of wealth standpoint, very, very, very good. Same thing with silver, okay? I think silver's a little better investment than gold. There is more potential for upside in silver, in my opinion, but that's a topic for another video. Own some metals. Good percentage allocation would be, what percentage do you believe on a yearly basis that there's going to be a currency crisis? If you believe there's a 1% chance of a currency crisis on any given year, you should own 1% of your portfolio should be in metals, gold and silver. If you believe there's a 50%, if you flip a coin, there might be a currency crisis and the US dollar won't be the reserve currency anymore, and absolute Armageddon is going to happen with the US dollar. If you believe that, I think 50% of your portfolio should be in gold and silver. That's really, really extreme, but if that's how you feel, I think that would give you peace of mind and relax you a little bit as it relates to your belief that there's going to be a currency crisis, because you're going to be protected in gold and silver. You can take that gold and silver, sell it. It has real use cases. It's not just paper, okay? These are things that are really actually used in electronics and PV, photovoltaics for solar. So there's real utility, real use case, real value inherent to the gold and silver that is outside of just the view that they are money, all right? They're actually used in industrial application. Okay. Also, you got to keep on buying stocks. You can't get scared and sell all your stocks and get out of the market forever, sell out of your index fund just because you heard that, oh, well, China and Brazil are bypassing the US now. Okay, who cares? You still need to grow your wealth. How do you know that this is only going to take 6 months? That's what people make it seem like. It might take 6 years. It might take 60 years. It might take 160 years for the US to not be the world reserve currency anymore. I bet you and I will not be around in 160 years. Maybe you are. Maybe you're some genetic anomaly and technology gets that far and you live to 160 and then you prove me wrong. You're like, look, I should have sold all my stocks 160 years ago. Yeah, you probably won't say that though, because I would bet the stock market's going to be ungodly amount higher 160 years from now than it is right now. And if it's not and everything goes to zero, who cares? Everyone's at zero anyway, so it doesn't matter anyway. Anyway, takeaway, don't worry too much about the macroeconomic situation. More worry about your microeconomic situation. Just worry about your personal finances and see how you can increase your skills and increase your income and lower your expenses so that you have more income than expenses, and you can hopefully take advantage of some good deals in the stock market, good deals in the metals market, good deals in the bond market, so that you can make some money and put yourself in a more advantageous position. Don't stress. These macroeconomic situations normally take decades and decades and decades to play out. So just keep focusing on yourself and I think you'll probably be fine. All right. If you made it this far, you clearly liked the video. Thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button, click the like, and comment down below if you're scared of a currency crisis or if you're not scared of a currency crisis. Thanks so much and have a good day.